What up, what up, what up, what up, y'all? You see they got me in the hot seat again. Like I told y'all last week, I am not the host. This is the host, JesCiaPatterson, and my girl, StaceyRichardson. What up,
Hi, everyone.
What up? And it's your boy, Nate Dogg, and welcome to Life in Mid-Flight. Y'all, I'm feeling like there's going to be some Campbell's soup up in here. It's going to be some good. Because today we're going to talk about some money, some marriage, and some management. What you got to say about some money, Jescia?
So today we're going to be talking about Marital Assassins.
Yeah.
What's that? So this coin was turned by my late pastor, the late great Reverend Dr. Marion J. Franklin Jr. Yeah, and it was about things that come in to steal, kill, and destroy in your marriage. But it's not the average things that you would think it would be. So it might not be a woman that's walking around in a tight dress or tight jeans and a lipstick, or the guy with the, debonair smile, right? But it's other things. And so one thing that we did discuss was finance and finances.
Yeah.
And how that can be a marital assassin.
And this was a request.
Yes, this is a request.
Okay.
Shout out to Samara. Samara Stokes now. She just got married. This is definitely a request from her.
Nice.
Because we spoke about it on another podcast, and she was like, I want to hear more.
Okay.
Like, you guys didn't get into it. So we're getting into it. We have a series that we're going to just get into marital assassins with. So this is our first topic, and this is a two-part, because we can't just talk about finances in one podcast, right?
No, that's
It just covers so much.
Indeed.
So we just want to get into marital assassins.
I'm sorry, I'm parched.
Really?
Okay. Get a sip. Okay.
So this week we watched The Rich Life on Netflix.
Yeah.
And it was a really, really good show. And the host is Ramit Sethi.
Yeah.
He's a financial advisor. Yeah. Nate, you want to speak to some of that? Like what things we saw on that?
Nah, basically, what the show was, what the show entailed, it was like he would go in and pull the credit reports of the individuals. Like he went to their bank statements, he went to their 401k,
He got
their
personal.
403b, and he got in. He was like,
He was in that
"Yo."
panty drawer for real.
He was like, he told this one guy, he said, "How are you living a rich life and you ain't got to account for yourself, but you got to account for your dog?" And the guy was like, "Ouch! I know you came here to tell me all about all this other stuff, but you gonna get on me on my dog?" He was like, "Yeah." He said, "If you talking about you want to live the rich life, you got to set some boundaries for yourself so that you can have money for you. Everybody loves their animals, and no disrespect to everybody who loves their animals, but you got to take care of you first.
Yeah.
But
I have 3 cats.
He would go in and he would go in." And he would just like dig into their business and, give them a little personal tidbits on the side on how they can both manage their finances.
The part I liked, so it was a couple that he focused on, and it was a young girl that he focused on. So the young girl was like 27, and she kept saying, I'm the only one of my friends that owns a house, and she was house poor.
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay, so you're the only one of your friends that owns a house, but you're not living. And she had cold water for 6 months.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
She couldn't afford to fix the plumbing, and she asked the HOA company or whoever was supposed to fix it, the management company, about it because she was paying HOAs. And then she didn't realize when she signed her contract that she had to pay HOAs. So it's just things like that, they're not being educated enough on it. It was just kind of crazy to me, like when he really broke it down, and she had a moment of realization during that moment where she just broke down. She was like, I can't keep doing this. I'm overwhelmed.
And the awesome thing about it, he was saying that you have to change your mindset. It all starts here. He said, people get the term rich, take it all out of context. Rich doesn't necessarily mean that it's more so money. It's your ritualistic lifestyle, or say for instance you want to go on vacation, that's your rich life. You want to set monies aside to do A, B, and C, and you can do that without constraint.
And I really like that way of thinking. I think in recent times we've kind of started to take some of the spotlight off of monetary gain, and people are learning that if you have good health, you're rich.
Right.
If you have a family that's intact, whatever that looks like for you. But everyone is, caring, compassionate, there for one another, you're rich.
Right.
You know, so we really need to start to reevaluate and redefine what rich is.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And something else I was thinking about.
I don't think there's nothing wrong with having a little money here and there.
Oh, no. Let's definitely set that straight. That's true. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with having wealth, monetary wealth.
Right.
But we have to know that everyone's not going to die a millionaire.
No, of course
and that's
not.
okay.
Yeah, and I think that we're all millionaires over our lifetime anyway, right? So it doesn't really matter.
You know how much money passed through these hands?
Yeah, and I think that the savings part is so important.
Yeah.
The savings part is so important because I think, what was the percentage that Susie Orman gave for people that do not have a savings, or most Americans don't have a savings?
It was like almost like 60-something%.
Most Americans did not have a savings for even like a $400 emergency.
Right.
So it was just like, and it's also a sign of the time. It's like the economy is crazy right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Do you see how much a carton of eggs is? Like almost $6 for a carton of eggs.
I was going to say, what, $10 now?
It's like a lot of money. Better get them chickens on them.
Well, my thing about that, too, as we were discussing the rich life and talked about home ownership, what about the American dream? Like, how important is it?
So glad you asked. He also mentioned that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been the person to think that if you're happy and your bills are all paid and you have some money in the bank that's saved up, who cares how I'm living, right?
Right.
Because it's my life, right? But the American dream teaches us that you must have 1.5 kids, because it's not even 2, 1.5 kids.
Sure it's not 2.5?
No, it's 1.5.
You show me a woman that give birth to a half a child.
1.5 kids, white picket fence, house with a mortgage, so 30 years worth of debt, right? And then it also tells us that we must have cars that we probably can't afford, all this crap that we don't need, right? And then people will look at you when you're driving your car that's 10 years old and be like, oh, guess you don't have it. No, I'm living my best life. And the reason why you don't know it is because I don't post everything online, because social media or fake media, like I like to call it, the necessary evil of what it is. You're just posting your happy moments. No one's really posting what's real. You're not going to see anybody at their lowest moment on social media, right?
Right.
You're not going to see that. So why would I sit here and even have these notions that this is what's real?
Right.
This is what's real. Like me having to have a house that's too expensive. And he talked about that. He said, for some people it's cheaper to rent. It makes more economic sense. It does. And in this market right now, like I've done numbers with some of this stuff, and I'm talking to you especially because I know you work with numbers, right?
Right.
So what is it? Is it cheaper in this particular market to rent or to buy?
I would say right now, I will rent. Right now, and I will rent right now. It is the buy is good. The economy is good for buying right now. But me personally, I would say I will rent until I'm ready. Because like you said, you have to have the mindset to be ready out there, or you're gonna have that poor instead of rich mentality.
Yeah, but with the economy being the price for mortgage is 7% right now. It is ridiculously high, right? And then we have a housing shortage where it's not enough houses, so that pushes the prices to the houses up. So houses are like $100,000, $150,000 more than what they're actually worth. And my question is like, is it going to tip off eventually? Is it going to just not be, okay, so you bought this house $150,000 more and now it depreciated, just like a car when you drive it off the lot. So now you're never going to get that money back. And a lot of the generation is a Generation Z. A lot of them are buying these houses and putting all this money down and they're never going to get that money back.
Right. But it has to be a delicate balance. It has to be a balance somewhere, and it all goes back to the mindset. Where's your mindset? And that's how
values
these assassin creeps in if you don't deal with those things at the root, especially money. If you don't catch it right there at the tail, right at the root, it's gonna sprout and it's gonna sprout and sprout and sprout and sprout and grow until it becomes this big old oak tree in your life, and you can't tear it down.
So
no timber, no.
So one of the couples up there, it was a the wife and her husband, and she was making six figures and she was working, and he wasn't working. He was staying home with the kids. But he had like a degree in electrical engineering where he could make six figures easily.
Right.
And he was staying home with the kids, but he was being frustrated. Now, Stacey, I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
Because I know a lot of, especially in this culture, especially in Black culture, right? Okay. A lot of women are, you know, I'm just going to say it, they don't let men be men, right? They don't let men be men. Now, this woman wasn't Black, but a lot of people in our culture won't let men be men. And they'll try to dictate to them what to do, how to do it, when to do it. You know, the whole term submissive is not something that is known from a lot of our sisters. Let's just be honest. It's not. It's not.
I don't think it's taught properly, so it's not understood.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
But what's your question for me?
Okay, so my question for you is it a problem if a woman makes more money than her spouse? Is that a problem?
I'm so glad you asked that question. Since we're talking about marital assassins, and for a lot of women, not everyone, but for a lot of women, it is because they want to be taken care of. They feel like the man should be the provider because oftentimes that's what we're taught, especially in our culture. Things are kind of changing as the family, which is the crux of, society. But because some people still hold on to those notions, they feel like the man should earn more. That way he can provide. He can take care of her, whatever children they may or may not have, and still take care of all the bills. For me personally, no, the man for me does not have to earn more to be the breadwinner.
Yeah.
But, excuse me, I do believe that he should be employed because if you're not, then what else are you doing with your time?
Absolutely.
Now, if you are using your time to otherwise contribute to our home, if you're taking care of the kids, if you are taking care of the home, then that's your contribution, but there has to be some sort of balance. Your contribution needs to be equal. And it makes me think about what Steve Harvey was saying before, like in his book, Think Like a Man, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man. And even in the movie, I love that movie, but...
Didn't watch it, didn't read it.
It's okay, I've done both. But he was asking for the women, especially for a woman who is her own man, according to Steve Harvey. He's like, you make six figures. Does he have to?
Exactly.
You own your own home. Does he have to?
Yeah.
So sometimes it's not about losing your standards or throwing them to the side, but just adjusting sometimes. And so when we talk about these marital assassins, these are things that we need to look at because finances can definitely break or make, a marriage, a relationship.
Absolutely.
So we have to be in control of that. And I think it's important to speak the same financial language, to have an understanding of those things.
And there was another couple on there that did not have a good financial language. So I'm glad you mentioned that. So this couple was a Black couple, and they refused to have a joint account.
Okay.
They refused to have a joint account. Now, I don't believe in that. I believe you can have your own personal accounts, but I believe that there needs to be a joint account where everything is paid for the house.
Right.
Because the two become one. So those finances become one too now. So you're not having your own account and I'm having my own account and we're just saying, oh no, that's not how I do it because this is what she said. I know that's not how I do it.
Okay.
She said because he had spent too much and he said he had an Amazon problem. Well, maybe you don't need the app on your phone, sir. Maybe you just need to call Amazon and ask Amazon if they'll come watch your kids and have kids for you or something because stop pressing the buy it now button.
Right.
I think he said that he had a problem with video games. So I'm like, every month, video games? You can't just pick one? I couldn't understand it. I'm a Zelda fan.
I'm like, wait a minute.
Huge Zelda fan. I'm a huge Zelda fan. I will say it, okay?
All right.
Have no problem saying it. Have no problem showing it, okay? I have no problem with it. But I'm not spending $1,000 on video games every month.
I think the word the man was looking for was addiction.
Yeah, he has an addiction to it. So what he was doing, those little games you play on your phone, and it says, for more coins, press this button. That was getting him. So he was like, first it's like 200 coins, and then it's like 1,000 coins, and I'm like, No, you just wouldn't have a phone. You would have a flip phone, okay, with 9 numbers, and the last number would be Jesus, and that's the number you're going to call if you spend any more money from Amazon. That's what you would be getting. Are you serious? Like, you can't manage your funds because of that? And then they were talking about spending money on, like, frivolous things, like storage spaces. He was spending money on a storage space, and the stuff inside the storage space didn't even amount to how many months that they were saving it for. It was like household stuff that it just didn't make sense to keep in storage anymore.
Okay.
And like, if you don't touch something for over a year, are you really gonna touch it again?
I mean, dare I say that the issue was not so much the Amazon account. The issue was not so much the things that were in storage, but those were symptoms of, the bigger issue.
But she was,
and that mindset.
She was bottling all that stuff up, and she was smiling, but she was yet seething within. And that's what happened in a lot of marriages. You can be smiling, on the outside, but you can be seething on the inside, and that's I think that's what we have to deal with, that seething thing. But I think from a male's perspective, when a male feels that he can't take care of his home, it does something to his mind, and he feels that
good males.
My wife's out there, pushing and hustling and stuff. Although, I'm doing the necessary things to take care of the house, but it's something deep down within that man like, yo, I gotta do something. I know she may say, oh, babe, I thank you for doing this, and I thank you for that. But deep down, if the men can be true, he'd be like, nah, I need to work.
Yeah, that's what a good man.
I need to know that I'm contributing to the house because, quote unquote, culture says that you're the man of the house. But my thing is, I don't have no problem with it. You bring the money, I bring the money, and it's all at the table, and we.
That's how I feel.
And we all eat.
Yeah, we all eat. You eat, I eat, we eat.
Anybody that don't work, then you don't work, you don't eat. So.
That is the Bible.
It doesn't matter what gender it is, male or female. No.
And as far as the joint accounts go, I say each couple is different. I think that you don't necessarily have to have it, but you have to have an understanding. So if you're not going to have that and you're going to maintain separate accounts, I think that you need to be able to say, okay, every month, these are the bills you handle, these are the bills I handle. When I ask you about this or that, you need to be able to say, well, this is what's going on with that. You need to be able to say, okay, I don't have quite enough for that. And you're not waiting to the very last minute, when bills due or past due.
You show that balance.
That's what I was going to ask you. So if we're going to have separate accounts, do I have your login?
I would say, again, that's up to the couple. Because you don't necessarily have to have that if you have enough trust. It's not that you're hiding, but I trust you enough to know that, okay, this is what you're earning every week.
Yeah. You got this. Yeah.
I see the stuff. Yeah. Here it is. This is what's going in. This is what you're taking care of. And that's just it. And I trust that. Why? Because the lights are still on. Because my car hasn't been repossessed. So I trust that you're taking care of that. Things like that. Yeah. So again, whatever those couples are comfortable with, as long as the babies are not outside in the cold.
But we have to watch out for minimum payments, because there was one couple on there. He put such like almost $80K into this DraftKings thing, and they went back in the check account. It was like $20K, and then she was like, so when you was going to tell me this, you wait till we get on Netflix in order to tell me that we ain't got the money?
Ooh. Well, I think that you need to check in. Financially, you need to be checking in.
I think it's of great importance that you sit down and you have these meetings, because the little counting in my head was like, okay, no, I need to know what's coming in and what's going out. And, we have our meetings. Our meetings are like 2 hours long.
God. So we meet all the time about, finances, but one of the things that we do is in the beginning of the year, end of the year, and mid-year. So it's like 3 times a year where we have, or almost quarterly, because that's just how his brain works. Like, we have to meet, and it's like 2 hours and spreadsheets and ridiculousness.
PowerPoints.
Yeah, and then he doesn't give me snacks, but it's just like, it's too much.
No refreshment.
It's too much. I'm like, can't we just look at a spreadsheet and talk about it for 10 minutes? He's like, no, we have to delve into the data. We have to look at the data. And I'm like, okay, but if the data still tells me at the end of the day that this money is still the same, Why am I looking at it? It's like, because you have to look at it. We have to grow our portfolio. Okay.
No, it's portfolio. There's a scripture out there that says that it's the little foxes that spoil the vine. If you don't deal with those little things add up, and it grows. It's just like yeast. It just grows and it grows and it grows and grows, and then you find yourself in divorce court.
10-page spreadsheet. 10-page spreadsheet is all I'm going to say.
Something that
10-page spreadsheet.
you could have solved.
I can appreciate that.
20 days.
See what you did? You
That's
just got yourself 10
else.
more pages. But I could so appreciate that rather than someone who is out there spending frivolously. I'm thinking that we have something. I'm thinking we're going to be able to take care of these bills, and the account is negative.
Yeah.
So I'd rather have the transparent conversation, no matter how long.
But I think that's what it's about, having that transparency in a relationship, just to deal with it. And I think the reason why he was telling them to have that is because their money was all over the place. So I think like what you're saying, like if you can compartmentalize it, right, and it works for you and it works for your spouse, and you have a level of trust and communication, other marital assassins, you have those things, then I think it can work. But if you don't have them and it's other issues that are underlined, it's not going to work. You might need a joint account.
Absolutely.
So what do you do in those situations when you have to tell your partner, I don't trust you with our money?
I've never been in that situation. I wouldn't know how. I wouldn't have gotten married if I couldn't trust somebody else with my finances, because I truly do believe the two become one, like in all facets. Like I knew with your credit wasn't everything before we got married. Like just certain things we knew, and it's not because I was like, "What's your score? Pull it up." It wasn't like that, but it was like, okay, so we're gonna want to buy a home, we're gonna want to purchase a car, we're gonna want to do different things. So show me mine, I'll show you yours. It's not like that. And that's how it was. But
it just went left.
And that's what happened. So I think if you can't trust somebody, you shouldn't be in a position where you're trying to even be in a relationship, nevertheless a marriage.
Right.
But how about this? What if it started out on that page, but it turned? Things happen. Over the time, things can change. And I think if you find yourself in that position, you need to be honest.
Yeah.
You need to be able to say, I was counting on you, or we, the family, was counting on you to take care of this, but this is what happened instead. We assumed that, but that's what happened. So because of that, I'm now forced to do this. And that's just what it is. It's not an easy conversation, I would think, to have, but it needs to happen.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think we have to break that 50-50 mentality in marriage, because you don't come into a marriage with half of yourself. You come in with your whole self. So when you come into a marriage, it should be 100. You come with all your truth. Because it's whatever we have encumbered in our lives, we bring that into the marriage, and we have to be very, very careful, especially in the area of finances.
Yeah.
Especially in that area, because you find yourself out there on the creek, listening to the crickets and the frogs, ribbit, ribbit.
Well, talking about the girl who was basically house poor, I think that's a huge phenomenon, just like in America, period. People, buy these huge, luxurious houses, drive these beautiful, expensive, like $100,000 cars, and then they go home and it's like barely any food in the fridge, and it's like, you live this beautiful life on the outside, but they're house poor. Because
I want the perception of everybody that comes into my life that encounter me like, yo, I made it.
Man, I could care less. I'm not being a house poor. I've walked away from a house.
You made it,
literally,
but you eat peanut butter
was going to purchase a house and walked away from it because I refused to be house poor.
Right.
I was like, yep, I'm not ready.
Right.
I thought I was ready for that particular house. I wasn't ready, and waited till we were ready. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and try to. Who am I living for? Myself. At the end of the day, nobody's here to pay those bills.
That's right.
I have to pay them. Yep. So why are we caring about other people's perceptions of us?
I think that's just America. That's just life, People care about what people think about them.
Yeah. I guess I'm an anomaly because I can care less. No, like you have to pay those bills, those expensive bills. You have to pay them. And nobody's there helping you pay them. Nobody's there holding your hand when you're sitting there crying on the floor to Jesus at night, talking about, Jesus, please, Lord, please, if you just let me have this house, if you just let this mortgage be paid for the 5th time, Jesus. Nobody else is there with you. You're there. You, your tears, the dust on the floor, your cat, if you're me, okay? And Jesus, that's it.
And your slobbing pillow.
Your slobbing pillow.
Yeah.
Gross. You had to tell everybody that, though. I only slob a little bit, dude.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with peanut butter and jelly because I happen to like a good PB&J.
Me too.
Ooh, on potato bread. Some
But I
cold,
like having it by choice.
crunchy peanut butter.
You know, I don't like being forced to have it because I have no other choice because I made a bad decision.
Right.
You know?
That's it. That right there. When we make the conscientious decision, that is us. We did this.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we put ourselves in this now, but how do we get out now? How do we get out?
And that's why I think that sitting down, talking about finances before marriage and all throughout marriage, you know, every so often, you just have to revisit that stuff. It's too important to ignore or just assume that the other person is on the same page, you know, and is thinking of the same mindset. It's too important for that. So it's one of those sneaky assassins.
Very sneaky. It's stealthy, right? And can creep up on you. And then you have something also they call walkaway wife syndrome.
What's that?
So walkaway wife syndrome is when like a wife asks for help or things just aren't going right and she keeps expressing it and then she stops. And then one day she just gets up after like 20 years and just walks away out of the marriage. And people are like, oh my gosh, you're married for 20 years. What happened? And it's like, I was tired. It's like, but you guys have been together for so long. Yeah, but I was tired. And they just walk away from the whole marriage.
Together, you know, while the kids were growing up, and I held the house down, I held down the job, all of that. But I held that down.
Yeah.
I'm tired. Now I'm gonna do me.
Yeah, walkaway wife syndrome. It's a real thing.
It is. It is.
It's a real thing. I didn't really. I was watching. See, more of my business is about to be exposed. I was watching Marriage Boot Camp. It's the wretchedness for me. But I was watching it and he talked about that. Dr. Ish talked about that when, you know, women really do just get tired and just walk away. Yeah. And I said, yeah, but where's the conversation before that? Like, you know.
Dear John.
Yeah, like you're just getting up and walking away from an entire marriage.
Yeah.
Man, that's difficult for me to even comprehend. Yeah. You know? But some people can do it. Some people can do it without even thinking about it twice. But that's why I think all these conversations are important conversations to have, right? So finance is huge. It's huge. It's a huge part of marriage. We're going to talk about it probably next time about life insurance. We can touch on it today. But like, why
important
in the Black community, why people don't have life insurance?
I think that it's not only in the Black community, but I think it's like universal. A lot of people can't afford it.
Yeah, but I think especially in the Black community, I've seen a lot of GoFundMes after somebody dies unexpectedly. And not for nothing. If you, I don't know, this will sound kind of crass, but if you have a child that you know is running the streets and is in a gang, I'm putting life insurance on you. I don't care if I don't want to hope and think. If I know what kind of life you're living, you could be 10. You're getting life insurance. And even some life insurance companies, when you sign up and you have children, they'll automatically insure your kids with $25,000 worth of life insurance. But I think it's a lack of education, really, right? Oh, yeah. And like you're saying, it's not just like the Black community. I was just using that as an example because I find that a lot of us tend not to have it, right? But just, I feel like it's like almost like a minority thing where it's just like, it's just not there.
I think
you know,
it's the mindset.
Access,
the
resources,
mindset.
It's the mindset.
Education.
Definitely, especially the education. Like, what's the difference between, you know, term and whole life? You know, which one should I get? How should I get it? How old should I be when I get it?
Right.
What's the cash value on it? What can I take out?
That's the part right there that gets me. What can I take out of my life insurance?
A lot of people do it though.
Why am I taking money out of my life insurance?
Because a lot of people hit rock bottom, and a lot of people.
This is not rock bottom enough.
A rock and a hard place.
This is not rock bottom enough. Wow. To take money out of there.
Yeah, it's you know, people go through what they go through, man. They go through what they go through.
I get that, but to take money out of your life insurance policy to me seems like, I don't know. The pension is bad enough, but to take money out of your life insurance policy, then what happens if you die tomorrow? People can't bury you.
But financial planning.
They'll pick it up at the end.
Financial planning. That's why it's so important for people to sit down and if you don't have, a good head on your shoulders where you're just not sure, not educated enough about those things. That's what I mean by that. Then sit down with a professional.
Right.
It can't hurt. And just coming back to what we said earlier, like at the top of the show when we were talking about people having savings plans, or accounts rather, only about half of the U.S. population really has a savings plan.
Wow.
And how much is in there? Well, that varies. Again, depends on access, jobs, life circumstance. So,
you know what? One of the last couples, it wasn't a couple, the lady that was on Netflix, the really, really rich lady, where she had, she was getting $25,000 a month in child support. All right, so that's a whole job for somebody, right?
Whole job.
She was getting that in child support, and then she was making these crazy cash deposits, like $324,000, and just all this stuff. But then she would take out like $275 the next day. She was doing all this crazy stuff with money. She just liked all this stuff because she grew up poor, right?
Okay.
So she said she was just never going to live that life again. She wanted more, and she was just living way too extravagant. Way too extravagant. Her savings account had $5 in it. She got $1 million home. Her savings account had $5.
And that right there.
My kids have more than $5 in their savings account. Are you kidding me?
But
you're a millionaire?
Is that right? Is that right there? Her past experience. She's had that in her mind. I will never find myself in this predicament again, and that's what it is like with a lot of people when they don't know, when they haven't been schooled that there is a better life, that you need the life insurance, that you need this and you need that in your life. When they don't know.
Yeah, but she's spending everything. And that's what he tried to tell her. Like, she didn't have to do that. She sold her house, made a killing on it, and he said, rent for right now, and then find something cheaper. It's just you and your daughter.
It's those adverse child experiences. The ACEs.
Yeah, but why? But for me, if I grew up poor, like dirt poor, like she was, so her parents got divorced. Her father was rich. Her mom was poor. She ended up with her mom. And I wanted to make sure I retained something. My bank account would always be. I'd be so paranoid. It would probably be stuffed to the brim.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be.
But babe, you gotta look at it like everybody's experience is totally different.
No, I get it, but I'm just saying to what you just said. So you just said it's how she grew up, why she's spending so much. Is that why she's spending so much, or because
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to be poor again?
When you grow up and didn't have the best things that other people had, you're gonna go out there and acquire. So people can say, okay, look, you're doing your thing. You made it. That's the mindset.
Yeah.
It's so sad to say, but that's what it is.
And it's also this. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it could really go a couple of different ways.
Yeah.
And I know she's about to put her psychologist hat on. I just know. But which I can appreciate because we need to hear multiple sides of this. I think that you and I would say, nope, I would rather have a very simple meal than to go eat at that 5-star restaurant if it means that I can tuck that away for a rainy day.
Yeah.
But there are other people who are like, no, I never had this. I am living it up, and I think that's
and broke tomorrow.
Yep. But, I'll re-up the next day or at the end of the week because I know it's coming, But what were you going to say?
I can't remember. That just disturbed me.
I apologize.
It's just I just don't get that mindset where it's like, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and I have some more money later, girl. That to me is just nuts because I think also, both of you, I just brought up such great points about that. And I'm just thinking there's a mindset where sometimes people feel like they have to spend everything that's in their bank account. And if they don't spend everything that's in their bank account, they just feel like, I don't know what feeling goes through them, but I know that is a mindset, right? So I'm thinking maybe that's what she has, like you guys are saying, because of how she grew up, maybe she wants to live that good time up.
Right.
But I just couldn't imagine spending that much money in one day on such frivolous things. I couldn't do it. I literally could not do it. I just couldn't. I would be sick for a week. I get upset when I go to Costco and spend close to $1,000 because I have 10 kids. I have like 10 kids, but like I do. Like last time I went to Costco, we went with mommy, right? And it was like during the pandemic when I did a big purchase like that. And we go and get to the cart at 2 carts.
Yeah.
Order came up. It was like $900 and some odd dollars, and she's like
clutching her pearls,
clutching her invisible pearl. She's like
she Fred G. Sanford. I'm coming to you a little bit.
She was like, "Are you okay? Do you have it? Are you good? Do you need something?
Do you need something?
Do you need something?" That's what she always says. And I'm like, "No, Mom, I got it. It's okay." She's like, "Oh my gosh, they just eat so much, don't they?" I'm like, "Yeah, they do." I got like 10 kids, all boys just about. So she's like, "Oh my goodness. Oh God, I just felt so bad, and I saw you spend all that money. Can they eat something else?" I'm like, "No. Not really." And our kids, we put down on the list, going a little off topic, but just to mention this, I asked them, I had to pick up some stuff in the grocery store. You know what our kids put on the list?
What?
As for needs, cereal. I was like, I can't.
From day one.
That's boys.
That's
they
boys. Love their cereal.
That's why they big now.
But even something like that, something as simple as going grocery shopping, that talks about finances and marriage, right?
Yes.
So what do you buy? How much do you budget for different things? Like all that, some people don't budget.
Right.
At all. Some people just go in there and they just spend, they just swipe, they spend. And it's like, okay, but we had a budget and we didn't stick to the budget. So now you're broke and you're wondering why. Budgeting is extremely important when it talks about, being married and in a relationship, especially like even if you're in a relationship and you're not married and you're, shacking. I just wanted to say the word shacking.
Cohabitating.
Shacking. But if you're, cohabitating, we'll be proper today. Those finances and the resources and everything are combined. Even something like that, not sticking to a budget, is important. What do you think about budgeting?
I think budgeting is very important and is very essential to not only the marriage, but it's also a teaching moment for your kids. And,
I like that.
And to let them know that, when you find yourself in a situation like mommy and daddy, this is what you're going to have to do for your wife and your kids. You're going to have to budget. And I think we set the demon straight when we demonstrate.
Ooh, I like that. You need to go right now
because
and just have that trademark.
If you look at that word demonstrate, the first couple of letters is demon. DEMONSTRATE.
It's so true.
Demon. You set the demon straight when you demonstrate.
All right.
And that's what you do. That's what you do with those
word?
marital assassins. You set the demon straight and you demonstrate. No, this is how we do it.
Absolutely.
This is how we do it.
This is how we do it. I'm sorry. I set that demon straight. That secular demon. Okay. But I like that. I like that.
That makes so much sense. And since we're talking about, budgeting, households, and all of that, with the current trends, so many young people are moving back home, especially since COVID.
Right.
So between student loans, loss of jobs, what do you guys think about all that?
My thing is, I'd rather for them to come struggle at home than to be out there in the world struggling. If we're gonna struggle, we'll struggle together, and we'll build you up until you're ready to go back out there.
Yeah.
Everybody makes these mistakes, and I think that them going out there and learning to see what the real world is, and then seeing what they got at home, it's an eye opener for them.
Yeah.
It's an eye opener for them.
I'm gonna be honest with you. If I didn't have 10 kids, I would be right in my mama's basement with this economy because everything's so expensive. I'd be in her basement and I pay her rent. I pay mommy and daddy rent because who has that kind of money to do this in this economy? It is expensive. It's expensive. I'm all for it. I know I said it before in another podcast, that multi-generational living. If you can do it, do it. Yeah. I think it's intelligent. I think it's wise. And I think at the end of it, you can come out with your own. Because all you're doing is stacking your money.
Especially for all those kids you got.
If you play it smart.
That she got?
Yeah, all the kids she got.
Okay, we're going to pretend that you're not the baby daddy today. All right.
I left the door open for a marital assassin to get in there. The devil is a liar.
And, as you were explaining about all of that, you'd rather have the child come home, you guys kind of struggle, work it out together.
Right.
Yeah.
The Good Times theme song was just playing in my head. I just wanted to share that.
Watching the asphalt grow. Yeah.
Just saying. But yeah, no, I totally agree. And that's something that I've said to my kids. There's nothing wrong. There's no shame in coming back home.
Right.
Somebody who is using wisdom knows, when to hold them, knows when to fold them.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see that things have just gotten out of your control, you can no longer manage, that rent, that mortgage. Come home. You will always have a place at home.
Yeah, I remember a Christian saying, when I turn 18, I'm going to move out. I'm going to move out. When I turn 18, I'm out. I was like, that's what you think. So I said, so you ready to move out? He was like, I'm staying home. He was like, the devil is a lie. He's 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 a lie. I was like, oh, okay.
He did the math.
Okay.
He did the math.
All right.
This world will strip you.
No, my son already told me his plan for when he leaves. He was like, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to stay on campus. Okay. Then after I get my CPA and my MBA, I'm coming back home and I'll just build an addition onto the house. Okay. Is that good with you? I was like, oh.
I was like, boy, you retire me, boy.
You just gonna just be home? He said, yeah, I should be making 6 figures with it. I said, oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Probably make more than me.
I'm not mad at the plan.
I'm not mad at it either, but I'm just like, you just gonna just build onto the house.
Oh, he said he gonna tithe too.
Yeah, he better tithe.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
But
he wants to be blessed.
Yeah. Yeah.
He just made a whole plan though. I just wasn't expecting that, I guess.
Right.
But I guess he, like Christian, he did the numbers, and it's
That's
like they probably talk to each other, to the cousins, and like, don't. Christian was like, don't move out, bro. Don't move out. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's real out here. It's real out here in these streets.
Don't you do it.
So I think they had a conversation, but I think that this generation is smart in that sense, right? They have that financial, what is it? What's a word for it? It's a financial, not financial literacy, but, they do take financial literacy.
Literate.
Yeah, financial literate. There you go. Yeah. They're financially literate, and they do take financial literacy classes.
It is a requirement, a graduation requirement for high school seniors. And probably all, but I can speak for, a lot of high schools.
Yeah, we weren't required to take that in high school.
Not then, but you are now, because they see
then, this is now.
how we, some of the mistakes of our past as a society.
But I'm glad that they do let them take it. The most I think I had when I was in high school, I went to like a upward bound program. We took a course over the summer on credit, and I learned about credit cards in 11th grade, and it blew my mind. And I said I never wanted one, and I've tried like all my life not to have. That's the one thing I will not hold on to is credit cards, because I just don't want the debt. I don't want the debt. I'm like, why am I borrowing money from you to pay you back every month instead of using my own money?
That's the way of the world. It's a language that
America knows how to study its
evil.
people. America knows how to study its people. They know I'm going to go and get these college students, they 17 to 18, wet behind the ears. So let me send them a credit card application. Oh, you get a $2,000 limit, and they think I'm living it up. I'm going to be the adult. So let me get this card, and then they swipe it and swipe it and swipe it, and not realizing they're like, what's this? This your bill. You got to pay it.
Yep.
Yeah, but I think they're even more financial literate now.
Yeah.
So they say, I don't want that. I don't want that. Like, Christian, have you got any offers? Any credit card offers? Yeah, and you just tossed them to the garbage, right? Yeah, but you did look to see how much they were, right? And then, no, he didn't even look.
Well, that's because he's an authorized user on some of our accounts.
Yeah, so he's building credit, because that's something that we learned at this generation, and make your child an authorized user, build their credit. They don't have to touch anybody else's credit. And guess what? By the time they're ready to buy a house, they have an 800 credit score, and they did nothing.
How about it?
But mommy and daddy helped them.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm for it. That's that generational wealth right there.
And look at what he has learned. Now, when he has his own family, he's going to be like, okay, this is what mom and dad showed me. And he's going to teach his kids, and his kids going to teach their kids. That's what we're supposed to do. It's supposed to trickle down.
Yeah. That's how we get generational wealth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, to just, making sure that they know what they're actually getting into. I think that's a big part of it too.
So watch out for that marital assassin of money.
Education is key.
Yeah, it is.
Can't say it enough.
Yeah, education, and just making sure that everybody's on the same page too. Yeah. Right?
Yes.
Making sure everybody's on the same page, even if you do have separate accounts or you think about money differently. Like you said, that language is key. It's key, because everybody understands money differently and has a different relationship with it and has grown up with it differently.
That's right.
So really, really good points. Really good points, guys. Yeah. Really good points.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
It does.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
It does.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So this was fun.
This was fun.
I agree.
It's a lot of fun.
Very eye-opener.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We discussed some really important information.
My lazy eye was like, yeah.
Oh, God.
What?
We're not going to talk about the eye.
Okay.
The lazy one.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, the cross one.
Oh, my. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No, but this was overall. This was good. This was great.
Yeah. So on our next episode, we would like to have a financial guru here, someone who works in life insurance, and he's going to come talk to us about the differences between, like we talked about, the whole and the term life insurance, and just how to prepare for those rainy days.
Right.
That's important.
I think it's important. I think it's a lack of knowledge, like you said, a lack of education, why people just don't do it more. And even in marriages, you combine all these resources, and you can literally be bringing in like $250,000 a year, and then you can have nothing in your savings account just because you didn't prepare for those rainy days, or because I saw those new drapes. Oh, they're sweeping the floor. They're gorgeous, And it's like, well, you just spent $500 on drapes, and you're buying groceries with your credit card.
Right. Well, we perish because we don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Because I thought it, and you said it.
We don't know.
Yeah.
You said my people perish because of a lack of knowledge. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we just don't know. And now is the acceptable time. It's the emergent time to know.
That's right.
It's
The
time to
more
know.
you know.
The more you know.
Dun, dun, dun.
Get that wisdom. Get that understanding. Get it. Get it.
Gotta get it. But this was fun. So that's what we'll be talking about in the next episode. And that'll be Marital Assassins, financial. We'll still be talking about finances, right?
Yeah, most definitely.
Talking about finances. And we'll go into communications on the episode,
communication
that's coming.
styles.
Communication, different communication styles. Different communication styles we'll definitely be talking about. And we'll have a friend of the show, Dr. Jen, will be on here to talk about different communication styles in one of our future episodes. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to that.
All right, y'all. Well, it's about that time to get up out of here. From our family to yours, we love you out there. Thank you for tuning us. And let's give it up for Bravery Studio.
Bravery up, bravery up, up.
Once again, we thank you and welcome. And we'll see you on the next episode of Life in Mid-Flight. Peace out. Love y'all.